Hi, Jims. Welcome back to my channel. It's Niecy G. For those of you that are new here, I have been a mindset mentor for 4 years and a master cosmetologist for 19 years. And I'm currently studying to become a nurse practitioner. And I am obsessed with quantum physics, neuroscience, and psychology. I like to use cognitive behavioral therapy to help you understand what you're doing so you can get out of your own way and shift your identity. Today, I want to talk to you guys briefly about how you're interacting with your everyday physical reality. This has been a huge topic of discussion across my social media platforms and within my private mentorship. And I think like where people tend to kind of go off, I don't want to say go off the wagon, but kind of fall off of their identity, is that it is very difficult for people to stay dedicated to that identity that they want to be. The reason behind all of that is imperative to you understanding what you're doing. When you can understand that the brain can rewire itself, when you can also know about human behavior, psychology, attachment styles, and whatever else, when you can understand, okay, my nervous system is designed to keep me safe, so it's going to do what's familiar and what's comfortable by any means necessary, then you can look at your cognitive behaviors and start to interrupt those patterns. Okay. So on my TikTok, I have a video that went viral that says, like most of them do, about how you're just in a different part of your loop. And what I meant by that was like, you're just in a different part of your identity loop and who you're choosing to identify as. And so you have to be very mindful about how you're choosing to interact with your everyday physical reality. Okay. So when I love Dr. Joe Dispenza and I love listening to his lectures and I've read a lot of his work and his books and his research and things. And people tend to think like, okay, well, what is he talking about? But what people don't get is when you're choosing to identify and interact with your reality, that is your personality. Okay. So when he says your personality makes up your physical 3D reality, what he's saying is the same thing that I'm saying essentially, as like how I am choosing to interact with my mom. How am I choosing to interact with my sister? How am I choosing to interact with, your boss, your man, your woman, your whatever? You guys are wanting different outcomes, but you're not doing anything to get a different outcome. At the end of the day, if you could just keep in the forefront of your mind by speaking with this person, by engaging with this person, this is the outcome that I desire to have. If this is the outcome that I desire to have, then what behavior do I need to do to get this person to do X, Y, and Z? That's why Dolores Cannon talks about manipulating energy. Okay. It's for an example, let's say that you have a dog and your dog gets off the leash and your dog is a puppy. So your dog wants to go run around and see who's close available to play with or run to or whatever. If you run after a dog is going to run away because it thinks you're playing a game. Okay. You have to shift your approach. You have to say, okay, I want my dog to come close to me. But if I run towards my dog thinks that I'm playing with it. I'm not playing. Get your ass over here. But you have to bend down and then talk to your dog like, come here, Scuffy. Come here, Snowball. Whatever y'all be naming your dogs. Come here, little Rufus. Okay, you have to shift your approach to get the dog to come to you. So you have to be more selective in choosing how you're going to interact with your everyday physical reality. So if I have a boss that I don't like, if I assume that my boss is different, like, okay, this is going to be a different day, clean slate, we're wiping the slate clean. So if I choose to identify with her differently, I'm going to interact with her differently because now the old version of her no longer exists. The other day on my TikTok live, someone had asked me about revision, and I thought, what a great question, because we tend to think that like you physically can go and change the past, and you can, but the way that you do that or the way that it's explained, I feel isn't quite detailed enough. You healing who you are now, your childhood trauma, the shadow work, as some people call it, whatever name you want to call it, I don't care. But when you heal who you are now, when you choose to grow from the things that caused you trauma or the things that were meant to destroy you or break you, and you instead choose to rise above that, past you is revised. Past you is healed. I've healed inner Niecy. I've healed the child version of me by being dedicated to the version of myself that I say that I am. So if I'm dedicated to myself as the version of myself that I say that I am, then naturally my manifestation, the things I desire are just going to be a side effect of those things. And I keep saying that. People have these little hiccups in getting their desire because it's small little verbiage that you guys are not privy to. And I had said this on a live a couple days ago where you'll set a goal for yourself. Let's say that you have a goal of making $3,000 this week. And then Thursday rolls around and you've made, you know, $1,000 towards your $3,000 goal. But then Friday rolls around and you're like, I've only made $1,000. I still need to make 2,000 more dollars. Not even seeing the discrepancy, the hiccup there is the word only. I've only made $1,000. I still have 2,000 more dollars left to go. Mm-mm. No, my loves. But if you say, yes, I've made $1,000 towards my $2,000 goal, you're teaching your nervous system is safe for you to receive. You're teaching your prefrontal cortex to turn on, to give you more ideas. You're teaching your vagus nerve that stress is minimal. You're doing so many different things, neuroplasticity, all the things are happening simultaneously all at once by you being excited, AKA grateful for that $1,000. You're $1,000 closer to $3,000 than you were when you first damn started, right? So then, like Abraham Hicks says, that momentum is going to build, that momentum is going to keep going and growing. And you're going to be like, yes, I got this. I'm moving, I'm grooving, I'm doing, and it's going to stack and build and stack and build and stack and build. So instead of you saying, I only made $1,000, you make the $1,000 and you shift that to, I only have 2,000 more dollars left to go. Minimize the 2,000. I only have $2,000 left to go. Instead of, dang, I still got to get $2,000. You're shifting the way that you're speaking to yourself, AKA the universe, because you are the universe. So you're shifting how you're speaking to yourself. You're shifting how you are interacting with your everyday reality, people, places, things. That is it. Be mindful of how you're responding to conflict. Be mindful of how you're responding to the bills. Be mindful of, am I avoiding this person because I'm afraid of conflict? All confrontation doesn't need to be negative. I can't tell you how many times people try to avoid me or responsibility that they have because they think like they're going to get a negative outcome or whatever. And like sometimes too, you have to recognize like, oh my gosh, I am making a decision based off of a temporary emotion. That temporary emotion will pass as temporary, but you're going to make a long-term decision based off of a temporary emotion. You got to be able to master your emotions, control your emotions. My mom used to always say your emotions can get you killed, and that's very true. You can create crimes of passion or all sorts of things, all because you allowed your feelings to get the best of you. You cannot allow this 3D reality to control you. You control it by controlling yourself, by mastering yourself, by knowing thyself. Know thyself. Know what triggers you and what doesn't. Know what gets you motivated and what doesn't. Learn these things about yourself. Understand these things. Get to know yourself on a deeper quantum level, on a spiritual level, on a mental level, all of it. Okay? There's an infinite amount of versions of you that exists. So you have to be selective in which version you're choosing. If I am in a mature, committed relationship, Would I be accusing this person of X, Y, and Z? And it's so crazy because the way that my ADHD brain works, I pick up patterns very easily. And I oftentimes would get frustrated with people when they didn't see their own pattern. I'm like, how the hell do you not see this pattern that you always create? But people truly don't see it, which is where I believe mentorship comes in, where you can have someone there to point those small atomic habits, hiccups, behaviors, blocks, whatever you want to call them out. That way that they know, okay, this is just a little discrepancy that I'm making and I don't need to make that anymore. But I want you guys this week to focus on how am I choosing to respond to this circumstance, to this person, to this situation, to this bill, whatever. Look at that and take it for what it is. And sometimes you need to sleep on stuff before you give it a response because you're interacting with things all day long. Even you clicking on this video to watch it is a part of how you're interacting with your physical reality. Okay. So be more mindful of that, you guys. And a lot of you guys have been asking me about the 60-minute coaching calls that I brought back. Yes, you can 100% schedule those. They'll be done on Wednesdays and Sundays. So once you purchase, I'll reach out to you via email almost immediately and let you know what time slots are available for that Wednesday or that Sunday of the same week or that following week. And also, a lot of you guys are asking me about the platinum manifestation plans. Whichever one you choose to select is totally up to you. The description is in the website, on the website at platinumgang.store. So you can check that out. And also, you guys, I'm super, super, super excited about the Platinum Society. This is like nothing I've ever built before. I'm really excited about that. That will open on April the 30th, but the enrollment is open now and that will close on I'll probably do it on the 29th. That way the date for it to launch will be on the 30th. So you have until the 29th to sign up for that. I had the VIP group and I completely did away with it. The girls were really sad that we had our last group session, but it's just because I want to revamp some things and do things a little bit differently because I am identifying as a different version of myself in real time. But be selective in how you are choosing to interact with everything around you. And also understand when you're interacting with other people, people have their own psychology and their own thinking and their own beliefs and their own, um, you know, biases and all these things. So stop taking things so personally. Please learn to be gentle with yourself. Do not get annoyed with yourself. There's nothing that you cannot have. There's nothing that you cannot do. You just have to be slow to anger, slow to speak, and slow to react. Be still so you can hear God's voice. Okay. It's been my intention that this episode has helped you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.